Hello and welcome in my class. I am Professor Adesh Srivastav, Associate Professor in School of Management, BBD University, Lucknow. Today, I'll be discussing about overview of computer network. In this particular video, we'll discuss evolution of computer network in which you will come to know about the evolution of communication and network as well. After that, we will discuss history of communication, in which you will understand the entire history of communication. Then we'll cover ARPANET, the first network. You will come to know about the first network and its history also. Then we'll cover other networks like Telnet, World Wide Web, and Internet. So let us start the class. First, we will discuss evolution of communication. Exchange of information through the use of speech, sign, or symbol is called communication. When early humans started speaking some 5 lakhs years ago, that was the first mode of communication. Communication over a long distance, when people who are communicating are not in direct line of each other's sight, is called telecommunication. Invention of telephone and establishment of commercial telephony in year 1878 marked a turnaround in which communication system and real telecommunication was born. That was the period in which the invention of telephone has led as a rapid growth in communication system and real telecommunication. Telephones slowly gave way to other equipments like television, video phone, satellite, and finally computer networks. Computer networks have revolutionized modern day communication and communication technologies, because when telephone was there was a little improvement, but when the computer network was came into existence, it revolutionized entire communication system and communication technologies. In this tutorial, we'll discuss in detail how networks have evolved since the first network known as ARPANET. We'll also discuss the hardware and software component of networking and the concept of global communication via internet. So as far as history is concerned, communicating with people over a distance is known as telecommunication, as we discussed earlier. The first form of telecommunication were smoke signals, drums, or fire torches. These were the first communication devices that were used in early ages for telecommunication. The people used to use these devices from a distant places to convey a particular message, but there was a major disadvantage with these communication system, and that was that only a set of predefined messages could be transmitted. For example, suppose you just burn out a smoke signal. So what happens? There was a certain thing which indicates this smoke signal. So you cannot change the sentence, you cannot change the message. What was predetermined, prefixed, that this smoke signal means this, they understand that only. So this was overcome in 18th and 19th century through development of telegraphy and Morse code. Now we'll understand evolution of communication. The first network, that is called ARPANET, the Advanced Research Project Agency Network. The forefather of internet was a network established by the US Department of Defense. This was actually started by US military. The work for establishing the network started in the early 1960s, and Department of Defense sponsored major research work which resulted in development on initial protocols languages, and framework for network communication. So this network was developed by US military, by Department of Defense of United States. And they not only developed the network, they developed initial protocols, its language and framework for network communication. So the entire thing they developed. And the ARPANET, it had four nodes and University of California at Los Angeles, that is UCLA, Stanford Research Institute SRI, and University of California and Santa Barbara UCSB, and University of Utah. So these were the four nodes where the network was further developed. In October 29, 1969, the first message was exchanged between UCLA and SRI. Email was created by Roy Tomlinson in year 1972 at Bolt, Barnack and Newman in inclusive. This BBN after UCLA was connected to BBN. Now we come to the history of internet. ARPANET expanded to connect Department of Defense with those universities of the US that were carrying out defense related research. It overcome uh, most of the major universities across the country. The concept of networking got a boost when University College of London of UK and Royal Radar Network Norway connect to the ARPANET, and a network of networks was formed. That was internet. The term internet was coined by Vincent Cerf, Yogen Dalal, and Carl Sunshine of Stanford University to describe this network of networks. Together, they also developed protocols to facilitate information exchange over the internet. And that protocol they developed is being still used and is called the backbone of today's network also. That was Transmission Control Protocol, which you call TCP. It still forms the backbone of networking. Now we come to the history of another network that is called Telnet. Telnet was developed in year 1969, beginning with RFC 15, extended in RFC 855 and standardized as Internet Engineering Task Force, that is IETF, Internet Standard, that is STD 8, one of the first Internet standards. The name stands for Teletype Network, that is, in short, it is called Telnet. Historically, Telnet provided access to a command line interface on a remote host. Telnet was the first commercial adoption of ARPANET, introduced in year 1974. With this, the concept of Internet Service Provider was also introduced. So, with the ARPANET, the concept of ISPs came into existence, and we could know about Internet Service Providers. The main function of an Internet Service Provider is to provide uninterrupted internet connection to its customer at affordable rates. Now we'll see the history of World Wide Web. With commercialization of internet, more and more networks were developed in different part of the world. Each network used different protocols for communicating over the network. This prevented different networks from connecting together seamlessly. In the 1980s, Tim Berners-Lee led a group of computer scientists at CERN Switzerland to create a seamless network of varied networks called the World Wide Web. So, World Wide Web was developed by Tim Berners-Lee in year 1980. So, which we called web pages, web world, or cyber world, or what the name you can give. That World Wide Web was invented by Tim Berners-Lee. World Wide Web is a complex web of websites and web pages connected together through hypertext. Hypertext is what? It is the combination of text and graphics. Hypertext is a word or group of words linking to another web page of the same or different websites. When the hypertext is clicked and other web pages opens. Now, we'll see the year-wise milestone. The evolution from ARPANET to World Wide Web was possible due to many new achievements by researchers and computer scientists all over the world. So here is some of those development which we'll see as a year-wise milestones. So this is timeline of networking. In year 1959, the Advanced Research Project Agency formed by US. In 1969, ARPANET became functional, which is called the first network. In 1970, ARPANET was connected to BBNs, and in 1972, the Royal Tomlinson developed network messaging or email. So email was developed in year 1972, and the symbol at the rate, which comes to mean at, was given. In year 1973, the ARPANET connected to Royal Radar Network of Norway. And then in 1974, the term internet was coined. First commercial use of ARPANET telnet was approved. And in year 1982, the TCP/IP was introduced as standard protocol on ARPANET. In year 1983, the domain name system was introduced. The domain names were introduced in year 1983. Thereafter, just after 3 years in 1986, National Science Foundation brings connectivity to more people with its NSFNet program. And in 1990, the ARPANET decommissioned first web browser Nexus developed and HTML was developed. So HTML, that is hypertext markup language, that was developed in year 1990, and from year 2002 to 2004 the web version 2 was born. So this was the timeline of networking since its inception and the development till now. So this was the exact timeline of networking. Now we'll understand some of the fundamental terms of networking that we commonly use in networking. Some fundamental terms, you must have heard about these terms. So let us discuss a little about these terms. Number one is channel. Before we dive into detail of networking, let us discuss some common terms associated with data communication. Physical medium like cables over which information is exchanged is called channel. Transmission channel may be analog or digital. As the name suggests, analog channels transmit data using analog signal, while digital channel transmit data using digital signal. In popular network terminology, path over which data is sent or received is called data channels. This data channel may be tangible medium like copper wire, cable, or a broadcast medium like radio waves. So dear students, I have made another video, a separate video for communication channel or a communication media that you can refer in my particular uh, YouTube channel. You can go through that link of communication channels or communication medium, in which you will come to know about all communication channel, all types of communication media, the unguided media and the guided media. I have discussed all the things in detail, so you can refer to that particular video. In this, we will discuss only fundamental terms. So let us proceed further. Second is data transfer rate. The speed of data transferred or received over transmission channel is measured per unit time. It is called data transfer rate. The smallest unit of measurement is bits per second, that is BPS. 1 BPS means 1 bit, that is 0 or 1 of data is transferred in 1 second. So this is about data transfer rate. Here are some commonly used data transfer rates. So let us discuss that. 1 bps is equal to 1 byte per second, that is 8 bits per second. And 1 kbps, that is 1 kilobytes per second, is equal to 1024 bits per second. And 1 mbps, that is 1 megabit per second, is equal to 1024 kilobits per second. And 1 gbps, that is 1 gigabyte per second, is equal to 1024 mbps, that is megabyte per second. So these are the units of data transfer and called as data transfer rate. So I hope you must be clear about this fundamental term that we commonly use in networking, that is data transfer rate. Let us discuss another thing that is called bandwidth. Data transfer rate that can be supported by a network is called its bandwidth. So what is bandwidth? Bandwidth is actual the data transfer rate, the maximum, if I say in other words, the maximum data transfer rate that is possible in a network, that is called its bandwidth. It is measured in bits per second as we discussed earlier. Modern day network provide bandwidth in kbps, mbps and gbps. Some of the factor affecting a network's bandwidth are as follows. They include network devices used, that what are the devices we are using in a network, the quality of those devices is one of the fundamental parameter on which the speed, or you can say the bandwidth, depends. Number two is protocols used, what kind of protocols we are using. And number three is number of users connected, that how many users are connected in a network, that is also one of the prime factor. And last but not the least, that is network overheads like collision, errors, attenuations, etc. So these are the reasons, these are the parameters on which a network's bandwidth depends. Now, there is another term that is somewhat related with bandwidth. We'll discuss it and we'll understand the difference from bandwidth and that particular term. Let us see what is this. This is throughput. Throughput is the actual speed with which data gets transferred over the network. So, what is the difference between throughput and bandwidth? I have told you the bandwidth is the maximum transfer rate that is possible on a network, that is called bandwidth, whereas throughput is the actual speed with which data gets transferred over the network. So beside transmitting the actual data, network bandwidth is used for transmitting error messages, acknowledgement frames, etc. So these are the thing for which the transmitting the actual data, this network bandwidth is used for these things. Throughput is a better measurement of network speed. Why? Because it is the actual speed with which the data gets transferred over the network. So throughput is a better management of network speed, efficiency and capacity utilization rather than bandwidth, because bandwidth is the maximum speed whereas throughput is the actual speed. So this is the difference between throughput and bandwidth. Now we'll discuss another term that is called protocol. Protocol is a set of rules and regulations used by devices to communicate over a network. Just like humans, computers also need rules to ensure successful communication. If two people start speaking at the same time or in different languages, when no interpreter is present, no meaningful exchange of information can occur. Similarly, devices connected on the network need to follow rules defining situations like when and how to transmit a data, when to receive the data, and how to give error-free messages, etc. Some common protocol used over the internet are transmission control protocol, internet protocol, that is called TCP/IP, and point-to-point protocol file transfer protocol, hypertext transfer protocol, and internet message access protocol. So these are some popularly used or common used protocols over the network. Now we'll discuss another very important term that is called switching. In large networks, there may be more than one path or route for transmitting the data from sender to receiver is present. Selecting a path that data must take out of the available option is called switching. So what is switching? Switching is just a selection of a path, that is deciding the route if there are more than one route present in the network from sender to receiver. So one route is selected for sending or receiving, that is this particular phenomena is called switching. There are two popular switching techniques. There are in fact three popular switching techniques. Those are circuit switching, message switching, and packet switching. And there are further kinds in these types of switching. I tell you students that I have made another video, a separate video for switching techniques and its kind. This video also you can refer through my YouTube channel, and you will come to know about the kinds of switching and the switching techniques in detail. So if you want to know more about switching techniques in detail and the kinds of switching techniques that are used in network, you can refer to my channel for switching techniques and network. There is a separate video for that. So thank you all for watching this video, and you are always welcome online or offline related any queries of the subject that I have taught you so far. And if you have any doubt, feel free to ask any questions. I am always available 24 into 7 at this particular email address, that is adsri6 at gmail.com. So thank you all. Thanks a lot for watching this video.